Yeah, there wasn't any one particular trigger. I remember my wife's uncle fostering a probably a 10, 11 year old lad, and we met them in Suffolk or Kent or somewhere down south. And I remember that impressing us both, and maybe becoming part of our consciousness for the first time, the whole concept of fostering. And then with her being a teacher at a school that I suppose was a relatively deprived school, that must have created a few discussions between us as well. So yeah, I don't think there's one particular moment. Over the course of a year or so, it would have been something we'd have just talked about and kicked around, and then I must have made a phone call. I can't remember it. It's a long time ago now. And then we started the process. But I suppose we were always interested in doing something that was a good thing. You know, I've not been dealt a bad hand in life. I've always been conscious of that. And there's plenty of people who haven't had that luxury. So I suppose it's almost a case of what you want to do. You want to do something that's going to help. It's a great thing to see people who have come from a fairly desperate position often, give them some stability, give them a chance. So I suppose that was always the motivation, to give people a chance who probably had very little or less before, more support at school. I suppose with the children we've generally had, certainly the long-term placements, they've all been teenagers. They've generally been 14, 15 when they've come to us. So I suppose there's less chance to sort of really mould them academically. But I think we've helped a bit with that as well, to be honest, even in a couple of years, to sort of give people more input, more support from their schooling, because the bottom line is, you know, the better they do at school, the more chance they've got for the rest of their lives. But we've got the luxury with teenagers of seeing them move on and being in touch with them afterwards, and knowing that certainly the vast majority of them we know, we still keep in touch, and we know that they're doing pretty well. So I suppose that's the best thing. That's the best thing. It's hard to remember when we didn't do it. It's that long ago now. So it really is just part of our lives now. Yeah, at times it's been pretty tough. There's no doubt about it. It's obviously more complication, more things to think about, and logistically, you know, you've got to be conscious of who's going to be where in the house and who's doing what, and you know, bedrooms and stuff, safeguarding. So there's an impact. I suppose there's always something to consider, but like I say, it's just become normal. We've done it for so long now that yeah, it's hard to remember what it was like before. I mean, our first foster child was the first child in the house. Our own kids came after. So yeah, it's been a long time now. That was a huge step, though. The first child, that absolutely was a huge step, and that was the biggest impact as well. But like anything, you do something for the first time, you're not exactly sure how it's going to go. You're finding your feet a little bit, but after that, it becomes more normal. My children have been brought up more or less always having a foster child in the house. Again, we've had to consider, I suppose, ages, and up until relatively recently, if we've taken teenagers, they've always been a lot older than my kids. But yeah, they've known nothing else. So I suppose the impact on them, it's hard to say because they've got nothing to compare it to. I think they would find it a bit odd if there wasn't someone else in the house almost, because that's all they've known. They've always got on more or less without exception with the foster kids. Like I said, they've always been a lot older. Of course, that gap is narrowing now, and there's only a couple of years between our present child, young person, and my daughter. So, but they get on so well, and the guy that's with us now is just, a fantastic human being, really. Yes, we've kept in touch with a few of them. I think all but probably one of them, to be honest, we still have contact with, and even one of the young people who we had respite with, still keep in touch with, and she actually did the interview with the Telegraph recently with me, which was very good of her. But that's the payoff to me. The fact that you keep in touch, you know how they're doing, they're doing well. One of them who lived there for 3.5, 4 years, I gave her away at her wedding, which was very special. And obviously all the family went, but she was part of this family, for a long time. But yeah, that was a real privilege. And she's doing well, and so the others that we know of, all doing well, moving forward, contributing to society, working. That's a good place for a lot of kids who've come from the care system. I suppose the attainment isn't always that high, sadly. But it's great to keep in contact and know they're okay, and they'll contact us if they need to, and they're doing. That's absolutely fine.